Three, two, one, we are live. Today we're live on the Idea members page, and then we will be sharing this tonight across the board at 8 p.m. I would like to welcome all of you to our broadcast and tell you that tonight we are talking studio shop here. However, we are talking about how we're all succeeding in our new world, and also how we're working together and sharing ideas that will keep us all going. We have 4 guests tonight. I want to welcome them. Hang on while I adjust this screen. Hello, everybody, and thank you so much for making the time to be here. Let's start with Kyla. I know Kyla
It's got us both labeled as Kyla, but it's the two of us own a studio together. I'm Kyla and Kim is going to wave. That's Kim. So we own a studio in Ontario, Markham, Ontario, Canada, called K&K Dance Dreams. Kyla, Kim, K&K. So that's us.
Awesome. Kim, also known as Kyla today. Something you'd like to add to that?
Yeah, so this is our 17th season. Very lucky that it's the two of us, and it's kind of funny how it all fell into place. Like, we just make sense to run our studio together. Thank God there's 2 of us for getting through all of this. We've got about 250 to 300 kids. It always fluctuates. We're in a commercial plaza, 3 dance rooms. And this is kind of, we've traveled the most into the future. We run our studio very hands-on. You could call it old school. Kyla and I are both at the studio every day, 7 days a week. And we've got about 10 other teachers, but we don't do online registration. We don't, really email with our parents. So the 2 of us are, the business is the 2 of us, face to face. So this has been an adventure, to say the least.
Kim, I want to ask you a quick question before we move on. Can you bring your microphone a little closer?
Sure.
Awesome. Thank you.
No problem.
Rebecca, let's stay in Canada for a moment. Tell everybody about yourself, my friend.
So my name's Rebecca Brettingham-Filice. I own Dance Extreme, located in London, Ontario, Canada, in between Detroit and Toronto, 2 hours from either side. I have had my studio since 1997, when I started it when I was 21 years old. I'm working now as much as I did back then, and I'm not 21 anymore, so it's a struggle. We have between 500 and 600 kids at any one time. And we have 6 rooms in our 16,000 square foot facility. So this is an adjustment.
Gotcha. Laurie, we moved to another part of the world. We're headed to California, everybody. Laurie, welcome. Tell us a little bit about you and your school.
Hi, everybody. So I'm Lori Buffalow, and I am in Northern California, which is about 45 minutes east of San Francisco. We have 3 locations. I have had the location since forever, 31 years is coming up. So we've been doing this a long time. And, definitely having the 3 locations and having to go virtual was an experience, but it was something that has really worked out well, and we're up and going. So we're, trying to adjust to the new normal.
And it is a new normal at this point because it's been going on for a long time. So all of our viewers want to know what we've chosen to offer classes to our students. I'd love to go around the table and hear what you've come up with, even if you changed it a few times. Rebecca, let's start with you, my friend.
So we have changed it. So this all took place. We closed down. Our last night of classes was Monday, March 9th. And then we go into a 2-week March break, reopening on Saturday, March 21st. So this all took place while I was actually in Mexico. And I had to deal with everything from there. Thank goodness I brought my computer, and my teachers are amazing. And we decided to, because in Ontario, we were told a 2-week shutdown, we decided that we were going to launch DX at home. And we had our teachers put material, classes, recital dances, everything, and we uploaded everything to our website. Word searches, crosswords. I was up till 2 o'clock in the morning finding coloring pages and everything else to get this site loaded with so much information. And then as we realized this wasn't going to end anytime soon, I decided to charge April tuition. I didn't feel right charging for different service, my choice. So we launched Zoom classes, and we charge for Zoom classes. So parents pay for what they're receiving, and we send out a weekly schedule, and parents go into Studio Director and sign up for individual classes individually every week. I decided not to do a flat fee type thing, which I know is working for a lot of studios. We just made the decision, pay for what you're getting. And it's worked really well for us. We continue to do Zoom, and we will continue to do it until we can reopen.
I want to stop here. I'm going to continue to go around the table. This is unique to me, Rebecca. So you are selling, let's say, a certain amount of time for a certain price based on the length of the class. Am I correct?
Correct. So for a 30-minute
down for everybody, yes.
For a 30-minute class, we charge $7 plus tax. For 45 minutes, it's $10 plus tax. And for an hour class, it's $13 plus tax.
Okay, so I want to make a point to everybody, not only on this call, but everybody listening. There are multiple success stories or multiple models that are working, and don't feel like you have to go the same way as someone else. Congratulations, Rebecca, on figuring out what worked best for you.
Yeah, and wow. I know that some studios are offering group, like you pay a flat fee per month and take as many classes as you want. Some studios are still charging monthly. Tuition's full price or discounted, and it's working for everyone. It's just what worked for me and my clientele where I'm located.
Awesome. Mm-hmm. So Kyla and Kim, what was your transition like? Which one of you would like to?
Oh, yeah, I'll start off, and then maybe Kim, you can jump in if I forget anything. We kind of followed what Rebecca did quite similarly at the beginning. We were only going to be closed for March break for 1 week. So this happened right just literally the weekend into when we were going to be closed for the following week. So, and same thing, like we thought it was, 2-week shutdown kind of thing. We did a Facebook virtual studio group for all of our, was just for all of our currently registered students. And we uploaded, all of the teachers uploaded recital dances and, and activities for the kids to do. We did some pre-recorded classes, that type of thing on there. And then same thing as Rebecca, once we realized this was going to be a longer term thing, we jumped on the Zoom train. And so now we're offering Zoom classes. What we did that's slightly different, our payment was bi-monthly. So our March payment had just gone through. So for March and April, the remainder of what hadn't been, finished in class, we said we would do class makeups at the end of the summer or whatever, and possibly work toward an early September recital. So that's our current plan, but who knows if that will change. And we did all of the virtual studio, and, we did some sporadic Zoom classes just as a bonus for that time period. And then once we hit the May 1st payment, which was for May and June, our recital is late. It's was supposed to be June 20th. We gave everyone an option. So most of our competitive students, we assumed, and they were on board with continuing with the Zoom classes at a little bit of a discount. And we did a revised schedule just to kind of cover everything that was like, the basics and get all the bases covered kind of thing. We did a revised schedule. And then for recreational students, we offered them the choice. They could, use their May-June payment toward the new online session, which was a little bit discounted. But it wasn't per class. It was for May-June. You could sign up for 1 class, 2 classes, or unlimited kind of like a basic pick your option type of thing. And then we felt good about that. Same as Rebecca, really. Like, we didn't want to lock people in all the way till the end of June without giving some sort of option, because it was going to be more feasible for some than others, obviously, with parents working from home and depending on the age of the student and all, you know, all those other factors. So it worked pretty well. All of our competitive team is on board, registered doing the May-June Zoom, you know, and we based it more on technique. We have one little rehearsal slot to, you know, run their competition dances, because we don't know if that's actually going to happen or not. But there's, you know, some rehearsal time, but it's not all based on that. And then the recreational classes are all just, you know, fun individual, like single kind of classes, not working on recital dances or anything until we know if we're going to have those makeups at the end of the summer to do, you know, get back in and get ready for recital. So.
Great. Kim, you have anything to add? Kim, Kyla?
Yeah. So for us, what we felt stuck with right away was deciding for our families, because we're at the studio every day as owners, our gut instincts were off. Like, we couldn't read the room, like we weren't there. So right. That's where the struggle was. And because of IDEA, thank you for this, we were able to see and hear from everybody. So all the ideas that we were seeing in panels like this that we were watching, you know, it overwhelmed it a little bit because we had just the plethora of everybody's, you know, what they were doing. But then we could kind of figure out what bit and piece to take from everybody that would work for us and figure out how to get it out with our parents. We don't have that large of a studio that we had to get it right for our people. And that's what we were worried about. And because we deal with everybody face to face, it was like, how are we going to get everybody on board with this? So that's why we had the options. It just felt like doing registration for this little 2-month session. So that was the scary part, where it's like we just did a brand new registration for it. But it ended up working. You know, it worked because that's how we, you know, deal with our parents and stuff.
And
so
you can imagine
it's been good. Like, it's only been about, maybe we're about 35% less coming in than what it would have been had we were running like as normal for May and June. So that's excellent. And if we can get back in the studio later on in August and do our makeup classes, or, you know, even if the next year starts, those people can come dance off however many in-person classes that they have. But we just wanted to let them out of that last fee payment so that they wouldn't want to come back and get a refund for March. That's what we were nervous of. We wanted to make sure that, you know, here, have that, so that we can just, you know, deal with what's later.
Cool. I love it. Laurie, in California, 3 studios. What did you decide to keep it all in order?
So we found out mid-March that our public schools were closing. So that's always our indication. We usually follow that format. And we were able to get up on Zoom by Monday, and we decided to just keep all of the classes the exact same schedule, same day, same time, same teacher. And we just went forward like nothing ever happened, only we went from the studio to Zoom. We did charge full tuition because we didn't miss a class. I did, however, bring in like lots of extra fun classes. Like, I had some guest teachers, and I did, like, on the weekends, like a family yoga for everybody. So I, you know, brought in like one of the core power yoga instructors. So I did supplement by giving them a lot of little extra things. And then I would say for spring break, when we closed, I was like, oh, now what are we going to do? Because I didn't feel right, you know, having that week off, even though we delivered classes. So what I did is I did pre-record the Zoom classes, and then every morning in everybody's emails were a pre-dance or lyrical or contemporary for all different ages. So over spring break, every day they had multiple classes that they could take for free. So it worked out well so far.
Can the kids, because you're keeping with the regular schedule, if Ree was scheduled for 4:30 Tuesday tap, must I be there at 4:30 Tuesday, or can I view it later on?
You have to be there at 4:30. Okay.
And any feedback on that, or are they sticking to their schedule? I'm curious.
Everybody, yeah, you know, so far everybody's been pretty good, especially the first 2 weeks in our area. The public schools didn't have the homeschooling set up yet. So the kids were really antsy and looking for things to do. Now the kids are back, you know, in school. So they're on their computers every day till at least 2:30. I mean, when I logged on yesterday at 3:30, they were like, Miss Lori, we didn't even have a chance to get outside, you know? So I was like, wow. So they are working still hard, you know, on their schoolwork, and then they're having class. So I'm like, well, let's bring your computer to the backyard then, and let's have class where we could get some sunshine. So it was a beautiful day. So, you know, just trying to keep them busy, but still letting them, you know, get out and get air. But have been, like I said, lots of extra classes, and we did do some recorded classes. It's really easy for anyone who's using Zoom. Is just record at the start of the class, and then you do have it in your files and can send it out.
I love it. So I want to go somewhere else because I know that we have creative people on this call. Rebecca, what have you done beyond the regular classes for your clientele? Laurie started to talk about some things, but I'd like to go around because I feel like people are in need of new, fresh concepts, because this is more about building community than teaching a 45-minute or a 1-hour class. So go ahead, Rebecca.
So for me, our studio is very family focused. Even though we have a large number of students, we're very, very connected to our families, and they're connected to each other. So for me, it's keeping that connection. So we started doing Facebook Lives at 7 p.m. on Wednesdays. The first one of our teachers did vision boards and talked about the choreographic process teachers go through when they're choreographing, while she did the vision board. Last night, we did a makeup challenge where one person was blindfolded and they did makeup on someone, and then parents posted the end results on the Facebook page, which was awesome. Next week, we're doing an acro conditioning partner workshop with the kids and their parents. So so every Wednesday we're doing that. I do meetings with all my dance troupe kids, one meeting with each individual group where they run dances and they just talk. And they talk to me about everything. And then I do once a week, I do all my kids together and all my pre-comp kids together, and I try to do games with them where I put them in breakout rooms and they have to get to know each other, and then they come back and share an interesting fact. So we're doing stuff like that. This weekend we're doing our performance teams as well. So we're trying to stay connected that way. I also, for Easter, I gave all our families a free Zoom class, and the reason I did that was because I know that a lot of people were hesitant about doing the Zoom classes because they just didn't understand how it could work, etc. We had over 110 people use those free classes. Some were already taking Zoom classes, but a lot of them were new. And the feedback from the parents was, I cannot believe how amazing this is, that the kids can hear the teacher and there's that connection. So for me, that was hugely important. Zoom for us works best because we're able to have that connection with the kids. I didn't want to do the recorded classes because I would lose that. Again, it's just because that works with our families.
Can you give me a couple of examples of the games?
Yeah, so the one was they went into breakout rooms with 3 or 4 kids, and I'd use breakout rooms and I made it random. So Zoom picked who was in with each other. So they went in and it was older kids and younger kids. And so they really got to know each other. And I thought the older kids wouldn't like it. And then when I put them into their groups, afterwards, like I put them in groups and I went in with the older kids and I said, sorry guys, I just thought it was really important for the little guys. And they said, we loved it. We thought it was.
I want to know what they did in the room.
They talked to each other and asked each other questions, like interesting facts that you wouldn't know just by seeing them in the studio.
Okay. Oh.
And then we also did, they made up cheers one week. They made up new studio cheers. And so they all did their little cheers and then they came back and they shared their cheers with everybody. It was awesome, like just fun.
I have one more follow-up on what you said for the teachers or studio owners that are listening that haven't really gotten into that talking to my kids part. They believe they need to teach.
Right.
For those that maybe have a hard time or don't know what they should say, give me 2 or 3 examples of questions that you ask your kids when you're hanging out with them.
Sure. So the first thing I start with every single meeting with my kids is tell me something you're grateful for. We do a lot of mindfulness in our studio all the time. So for my students, that's a normal thing for me to ask them, tell me something you're grateful for. And so we share that. We talk about, before we go to bed, we reflect on the day and we one thing we're grateful for. And when we wake up in the morning, we figure out something we're going to be grateful for that day. Those are normal practices for my students. So those are things that we talk about every week.
Kyla, did you have something you wanted to add?
Yeah, no, similarly, like even just for even all, when you are running regular classes, there's always, as you're admitting the kids and stuff, we're always talking, just asking them, if you have any exciting news from this week, what did you do today? How are you finding, is there more work at school or is it less work? Just general conversation with them. And same thing at the end of the classes. I think it's really important. Like some really cute things have happened on just by asking them questions. I had little kids like showing me they lost a tooth, and you get it like extreme close-ups and, just little things like that. So you're just kind of maintaining that connection. And we did a really, originally, before we even had the Zoom classes, we did, just silly little contests. Like we had a post, teaching a sibling or a parent one of your recital or competition dances, and we had a contest, and that was so much fun, and the kids had a ball doing that. And then we gave special awards, most entertaining and most whatever, and it was just silly, but it was fun and they loved it.
How many parents chose to participate in that?
We had quite a few, and I'm not gonna lie, there were some pretty impressive results. we had a mom like in a full split, and we had we had a dad with 2 sisters, full out like senior contemporary dance, like they dressed the same, they did it together. It was hilarious, and it was great. Like people loved it, like ate it up. So
yep, and credit to Kyla, that was her idea. It was a good idea.
It was really good. And the kids, you could tell the kids it was so great, because it was right at the end. It was near the beginning of when this all went down. It was like over maybe toward the end of March break or whatever. But a ton of kids in all ages jumped on board, and it was hilarious. And then we posted, the little clips and everything, and we had a little awards, and yeah, it was great. So I highly recommend that, because it made us laugh when we needed to de-stress, and and the kids loved it, and the parents loved it.
Have you done anything else that has been successful that's a little bit out of the ordinary?
That was the most, I think that was probably the biggest hit. But we've done.
The kids are liking, for us right now, we're doing a decorate your old shoes, whether it's a tap shoe, a ballet shoe, and it's a $50 Amazon gift card for, whoever's going to win. So everybody's busy with a lot of decorating right now and submitting pictures, and that's been fun.
Yeah.
And we've been giving the kids the option in one of our classes, if they want to do a solo. So they've been busy prepping a solo, and then they get to present it to the class. Yesterday, one of the dancers wore her mother's old costume. That was really special. Everybody loved that. So it's fun. There's a lot of fun interaction that you can do.
When you're doing 3 schools, I just have to stick on that one for a minute. When you're doing 3 schools and full schedules for all schools, you got faculty, you got everybody on board and pulled it off.
Yes. And honestly, I did just set up the Zoom, but I did have one of my teachers then start helping me, because you know how it is, programming in all the different classes takes a lot of time. That's really the most consuming, I would say. But, once you get the schedules in, we were good to go. We thought, unfortunately, we're going to use it for a month, but here we are. We might be using it for a year, right? But no, I do have a really nice group of ladies who help me in the office. And then I have a convention manager, so that helps for all of the convention teams. And we try to be more family oriented as well. We have just really great parents, and we do so many different things at the studios. We do dance classes, but like with our company performance teams, we do a lot of events throughout the year to kind of bring us all together, which has really been helpful during this time of, you know, difficulties, because we really have that strong bond with our families, and they're so used to being together and doing so many special things outside of the studio.
Mm-hmm.
Very cool. So I can't let this question go because I get it a lot. I talk to a lot of upbeat people. I make a point to speak with people who have worked really hard over the last few weeks to keep their businesses growing. And when people watch these episodes, they think that maybe those who I'm talking to are kind of skipping through the tall grass, thinking this is a joyous time. I need you to tell our listeners that they're not alone. Who would like to start?
I am ready to go, locked and loaded. I can tell you.
Can you speak up a smidge?
Yeah, sure. I'll get closer. I'm extreme closer. I was scared. I was really scared at first on the health side. So we were at competition the first weekend in March, and you know, it was out there. That virus was out there, but it wasn't what it became, you know, a week or two after that, right? I live with my uncle who's elderly. I'm caregiver. Kyla's got her mom and dad that are older. So we were really scared. And it took that 2-3 weeks to then that anxiety went away. But I was really scared of us having something that we just didn't see come out yet, and any of the studio family. And we'd been through a lot. So my father and my aunt were all elderly, and I was caregiver with them. About 4 years ago, my dad passed away. The year prior to that was my aunt. And that was like, you know, it was that epic life changes were happening that were out of your control. And this felt the way that I felt when I was dealing with all of that. That, you know, I would wake up in the morning and you were just afraid and not eating right and not sleeping right, and just the fear of it all, because we couldn't control any of it, right? And I mean, for me to go through all that personally, well, that meant Kyla that was going through it too, right? And our business is the two of us. So that fear of not knowing how we were going to move forward, and knowing that we still had to somehow do it, was just scary. And I laughed. You know, you've had the Canadian town halls. We were on there, and you're like, oh, you know, Kim, you can come on and talk. And I was like, I don't think I can. Like, there were just a lot of tears and a lot of scared, and we really didn't have decisions made. We were moving forward, but you know, it was just happening, right? But it feels, yeah, like the weather changed outside, and now we're on the other side of it. But that first part for everybody was just a lot of fear is the word, and anxiety. For health, like that was, you know, you were worried about the business, but you were worried about, you know, being okay.
Yes, I think that still goes through everybody's mind. I don't know that we're past. Are we all going to be okay?
Mm-hmm.
I think that,
even moving forward with us all going back together, I'm worried for that, you know?
I'm really worried about how it's going to, you know, how to plan ahead for the fall and have everything, you know, it's not going to be able to run, I don't think, the way we're all used to running. And it's all those changes, how that's going to, you know, how you plan ahead for that. How do you set the schedule for the fall? You know, how do you know, I'm sure there'll be, you know, staggering of class times or, you know, limited class sizes, that, all that stuff. Or, you know, God forbid there's another wave in the fall, and are we going to have to, you know, we're planning so that the schedule, you can run it on Zoom if we had to, kind of thing. Cause we're not doing a full schedule now. We're doing a you know, a revised version. And we have wonderful teachers, but same thing, some of them are just not capable of teaching from home, whether it's family issues or, you know, spacing issues or whatever. So it's really tricky to put something together that, you know, can work. And if you need it to.
I want to jump in to say this to you as well as our viewers. I think we should be prepared with a fall that is both virtual and live. And as we sell the dance lessons or the product that we have to offer, that is what people will be purchasing. So there won't be a question of,
right,
what happens if this happens? We are ready to go, whether we can be live or we are virtual, and move forward with registration as best as we can, with that as being the...
Right.
I mean, I know that may not work for everybody and it's an opinion, but it's a thought that I have in my head as follow-up to what you just said. I almost feel like we need to continue with registration as usual. Just saying we're in a new world and we're going to continue dancing every week. You're going to have a class time, and whether we're in the studio or we're not, here's what we have to offer for classes, just to make some people out there feel better. So Laurie, you're upbeat.
I'm upbeat, but let me just say, I've worked harder than I've ever worked in my life this last month. And I'm still working hard, because basically every single thing we've ever done for 31 years, it just throw it out the window. And you have to start fresh and reinvent and recreate. And my daughter keeps telling me it's great for my brain. I'm having to really stretch myself. So, and it's true, but you know, every contract, you know, I'm trying to do team registration this coming week, virtual, you know, so.
I'm going to go to Rebecca, because I just want her to tell us something that will encourage the other teachers who are listening. But I definitely, Laurie, want to come back to you, because you're one of the first people I know that's run company auditions, and everybody listening will be anxious to hear. Rebecca, tell me, or help the viewers that maybe are feeling overwhelmed, or...
There's days and I just cry. I'm a pretty upbeat person. I find positives in almost every situation, but there are definitely days where I feel like I can't win. But then I take my focus, and for example, we sent out an email asking for all the parents at the studio who own small businesses to send us their business information, and we are doing a promotion of their businesses. So I take my fear and my anxiety and I put it towards something positive. Like Kim, my dad passed away 10 years ago. My mom just passed away in January. I'm grateful she's not here right now, because to see her go through all this. And my mom was so prepared for this. Like when we put out her condo, I threw out boxes of masks. And I'm like, oh my God, why did I throw those out? I had no idea. It was back in, you know, January. So I really try to focus on the positive, and I've been trying to help my parents who own businesses, supporting them, and even giving them ideas of things that they can do, to help their businesses. If I come up with an idea, I shoot them an email. I'm like, why don't we do this on Facebook? Why don't we do this on Instagram? Why don't you try this? To me, when I can help other people, that's when I'm in my element, especially when it comes to Facebook, obviously, because that's my specialty. So it just makes me feel better, and that's how I get my groove back and get back into my positive zone, is helping other people.
That's great. And that is something that everybody can think about. How can we help each other out there as well? And that is, I won't call it a distraction, because that isn't the right word, but that's something you occupy your mind with that keeps it off of what might not be easy to face right now.
Rebecca, can I ask a quick question? What are you doing with the other local businesses? Like, any suggestions or anything you could share?
Yeah, sure. So if we have a recital, which was supposed to be in and that we've rescheduled to August, we will list them in the program. Normally we sell ads, which we will not do, because I don't think that's right. We'll just list them all with their social media. We're going to start doing posts for them, and we're going to start writing on their Facebook pages. There's so many things we do for businesses that don't cost money. Writing reviews, posts, helping them different ways of serving. So I have a real estate agent as a parent at the studio. And I suggested to her that she tries to do something similar to businesses, and she doesn't like being on camera. So I said, get every business to write 10 questions that you give every business, have them answer them, get them to submit 10 photos to you, and do a post. And so then it's just a post, you're giving them that coverage, and it helps you because it shows that you know the city and you're supporting local businesses. So she's
right.
We have restaurants, and they're doing various things to try to generate business. And I try to write, you know, that I love their restaurant and their food, etc. Just different ways to support different businesses.
Got it.
Okay, Laurie, I gotta go. You held company auditions virtual. Tell everybody the process.
Right. So basically, we do charge a small fee for the auditions because it is a little labor intensive, but basically everybody who wants to, you know, audition signed up, and then we basically sent them the Zoom link, and the teacher taught the choreography and the audition material in Zoom. And then they had 24 hours to practice it. And then we used Google Forms, and we created a Google form for each category, whether it was jazz, tap, hip hop, contemporary, different ages. And basically the dancer or the parent was able to record them doing them across the floor, and then the combination, and then they just uploaded it. And it's right there in your Google form, and it's so nice. I think I'm actually gonna keep this. We would probably teach it live, but I think I would have them do this audition process again, because you can go back and see Sally, you know, 20 times if you want, but you can rewatch the videos, relook at the across the floor, and you have all your different categories right there. So it was very helpful, and I highly recommend it.
Were parents into it? Like, or did you have to explain it, or did they go, I like it?
You know, so I always like anything sent out like to 5 or 6 parents, and did always a test. Like, let's try this, let's see if it works. How did you feel? Was it hard? Was it complicated? Talk to me about it. And the parents were like, no, it's easy, it's great. So I was like, okay, I got like 5 go-aheads. So we did it, and the parents, there was, you know, always those few. There was probably like 3 families who struggled with it, and it was like, okay, no problem. So they just sent it in a regular email, and we uploaded it for them. But overall, everybody got it. You know, the kids are so smart with the phones. They were able to help the parents. Yeah, so no, everybody really enjoyed it, no problem. So that worked.
That's awesome.
Yeah. Good for you. And thanks for sharing that for the viewers that are wondering how they're going to move forward in that area. Because
we're having our end of the year team party next week. And, you know, 120 awards, and I usually give them we have a buffet dinner. So we are going to do the drive-by. I was able to get the location to approve it as a to-go order for food. So we've divided it in teams. They're going to drive by. We're going to have our masks and gloves. We're going to give them their award, and we're going to give them their box of food, and off they go. So I'm excited to see everybody. It'll be a sad way, but a good way to end the season, being able to see people in person.
you know, this is what I want to say. A lot of people who are doing things like you just described, or maybe they're not the typical recital, I don't know that we quite realize the memories that the kids and their families will have forever when you do that drive-by. I know it's not what anybody perceived, but they will go back in time and say, you know what the best awards banquet was?
Yes, hopefully so.
I feel like we're creating these memories and stories that kids are going to talk about the rest of their lives.
Hopefully so. That's the goal.
Yeah. Final words of wisdom, Rebecca.
I would say to find the positive every day. I can't say it anymore. I think that we have terrible things that are happening or going on around us, but so much of it is out of our control. So find the positive in everything that's happening around you, and it will make every day a little bit easier. Don't dwell, stick to what Ree said. Focus 2 at a time. Yes, we need to do registration. Yes, we need to figure out next year, but try to slot you're doing a at a time so you're not overwhelmed. And really use the idea group as much as possible. I am so grateful for this group. Ideas. We're looking at, Lisa posted online birthday parties, and my staff working on it right now. So we're going to start offering online birthday parties. And it came from idea, and I appreciate it.
Thanks, Rebecca. We try not to push idea in these broadcasts because everybody, but you know what? I appreciate the plug.
I'm grateful for it.
Yes, so helpful.
Same, exactly. And yeah, it's the same thing. It's using those links. Like, idea's been great for that. Obviously you get, you're inspired, and you're getting ideas from each other, and you feel like you're not alone basically dealing with all of this. So it's been fabulous. But definitely, advice, reach out to other studio owners, and don't just take it all on yourself, because there's so many great ideas out there. Everybody's got their own ways of doing things, and there's good that will come out of it eventually. Obviously it's really hard right now, but I think long term, okay, maybe we're going to have some Zoom classes that just go, even if we don't need to, because some people like it. And maybe it's a shorter session option with no recital, no commitment. It's something that you could do on the side, and it's something new. And it might not work, but there are are people that would work really well for. So there will be positives. It's just getting through all this, and then we'll come out on the other side.
I agree. I think there is a business option when we come out of this with our virtual stuff. I don't know that it's all defined yet, but this I know, no kid will never ever miss a rehearsal again.
No more snow days.
Right?
Good point.
Virtually on our snow day, we're in your living room. All has changed. Laurie, some words of wisdom.
I think just stay positive. Remember that you love this. You love teaching. You love dancing. You love your students. And I think we just have to all pull together and get through this any way that you need to do for what works for your students, your clientele.
And Kim, also known as Kyla today, I'm going to let you close out.
Yeah. Well, the first point I would say, and this is something that we all have to have with us as it goes as studio owners, is that any of the difficulty that you might get from a parent, or that tricky email that you might get, this is the time where you can appreciate their perspective. And you're not going to take it personal, because we know what we feel like right now. We're in a financial strain. We're in a worry zone. So anything coming at you, this is the time where you can flip it around, and you can appreciate where they're coming from and help them through it. So that's number one. And I think that's something that we all have to take with us out of this. And the second thing is, probably the most important thing, is to be grateful. And I know when we all started our studios, we just had a hope and a dream, and we wished for everybody to take a chance on us. And that's what we all basically had to do right now. It forced us back to the beginning, where you're just going to hustle and you're going to do your best. And everybody counts, and every single kid and every single parent and every single thing counts. And boy, are we going to appreciate everybody on the other side of this. And it took us all right back to what we really feel inside, and that how lost we would be without all of this and each other. And it brings us all back to a really good place through a heck of a time. It's hard to get through it, but that back to the start feeling is what's going to take this just to a whole other level.
And we've talked to our teens about that too, that are obviously, wondering, are the competitions going to happen? And we said, well, guys, regardless, it will happen eventually. And can you imagine how much you're going to enjoy and appreciate those opportunities when we do get back to whatever normal is? Those things are, no one's going to care about awards, and, you're going to forget all the silliness. You're just going to appreciate that, this is awesome. I get to do this. Right. So there'll be pluses that way.
I'm with you. Can I say, Kim, known as Kyla, I don't know any better words than what you just said to close this out. I really feel like you did an awesome job. And I'm going to say thank you to the four of you. Wish you all the best. And say to our viewers, you know, we're in this together. Our dance friends are awfully kind people. Let's be open to listening to everyone's ideas and keeping a community together that needs to stay together during this time. Thank you, guys.
Thank you.
Thank you, Renee. Thanks, guys.